Good morning, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining our community call for December. This is the last community call for the end of the year, and hopefully we'll see you guys in the next new year with the new community call and new topics. But we have few people out of the office today, so me and Christian are going to wing this call. And we do have a couple of updates for you guys to share. And with that, I think, Christian, do you want to dive into the updates on the Zeek/spicy side?
Sure, I can do that one first. There isn't all that much to talk about. So we've entered the final stretch for 8.1, which we're planning to fork in the middle of the month. This has the usual, sort of implications of end of the year holiday timing. So the idea is that we'd like to get that out before the holidays so that people can, maybe install it, bring up clusters and so forth, and then run it over the holidays, come back in the new year, and then, finalize the release then. So the final bits are landing right now. We mostly got in, I think, what we had planned. There was a large update for ZKG in the making, or is in the making, that is not going to make it. So we're going to take a little bit longer for that one. So that will move into the 8.2 cycle. But I think that's okay. There's a bunch of new stuff that we're experimenting with, so more on that soon. So it's various projects. So we have new WebSocket bindings that people can use in the future to replace our, broker-based ones. We have a new prototypical XDP shunter. So there's a bunch of work in flight, sort of, but that's sort of, still in the works. And I believe I already mentioned last time that 8.04 is out, but it happened on the day of the call. So I don't remember if I mentioned it in the call or not. Tim created that one like on the 5th of November, I think. So if you're on the 8.0 train, make sure to upgrade with the usual sort of like bunch of bug fixes. Nothing critical in that one though. And let's see, other than that, um, no, I think that's in essence it. So basically, at the next community call in the beginning of January, there should be updates on how the 8.1 RC at that time is holding up. And then the one in February should be the first call when 8.1 is out. And maybe just for context, so we're very much viewing 8.1 as a developer release this time. So there's a bunch of big change in that release. We're about to flip the switch in master to running on ZeroMQ. So that's exciting, and that will. I'm the optimist in the crowd. I think it's realistic to expect that somebody will notice that in some unexpected way, shape, or form, and that's pretty much intentional for this release. So we are providing easy ways to switch back to broker for people who prefer that for the time being. But we're basically pushing this a little bit aggressively in that release just to see sort of how it holds up in production. And if you're following our PRs, you'll see that go in probably either today, tomorrow, so in the next few days. So this is a huge change for us, for those who know the history for a while in the project. And so we're pretty excited about that one. Much more on that when 8.1 is out, because I think that deserves much sort of coverage. But for now, yeah, I think that's all I had, Fatima. Thanks. Back to you.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, Christian, for sharing the updates on the Zeek 8.1 side. Appreciate it. Are there any questions for anything that Christian mentioned, discussed? All right. Well, if not, then I can move along and give some couple of community updates. So we have our December's topic of the month posted live on our topic of the month channel. So if you have not seen it, we would highly recommend you to go and subscribe to that channel. Every month we put up a new topic that community would like to discuss or share their insights on. And then at the end of the month, we kind of like aggregate all the interesting use cases or details that people have mentioned regarding that topic in a blog post. So this month's topic again is the how people use Zeek with different tools. So again, Zeek is barely seen used by itself. So people tag it with some kind of I don't know, intrusion detection system, like some kind of IDS, Suricata Snort. If you are shipping the logs, you would want to need kind of like a SIEM solution where you are aggregating the logs and then correlating it and whatnot. So, and then meanwhile, if you are using some kind of queuing agents, then you kind of like have the whole pipeline or the stack of tools that you use with Zeek. So we would love to hear from you guys that what kind of tool stack you use and how you use it. And again, like the whole wider community would be interested to know any new things or new technologies that people are experimenting with together with Zeek. So please drop by your use cases, success stories, how you have been using Zeek with other tools in that channel, the topic of the month channel. And so moving along, our last month's topic was about the Zeek hardware, that how different kind of hardware components and are used in Zeek and the fine tuning of those components. Again, that is one of the important topics that people usually would like to know insights about, that how do you tune your Zeek instances? What kind of hardware should I use, or what kind of hardware you have deployed in production? So it's always like, it's never a one size fits all. So again, community insights are great help for people who are running different kind of Zeek deployments in their environment. So the blog post for that, for last month's topic of the month, is online. So go and definitely check it out and let us know any feedback or suggestions or comments. We would love to hear that as well. Other than that, I think there is one more update coming up for our Zeek training. So we are going to have an in-person Zeek workshop at CERN next year in March. We are still looking for the speakers. So there are a few more slots open for the speakers/presenters. So if you are up for presenting or any kind of use case that you have with Zeek, we would love to hear the stories from you guys. So please go and register, and you can see more details about the workshop on our Zeek website. And if you are not able to find any information, please focus on our Zeek channel. We will be more than happy to share the information. So yeah, do sign up for the workshop. It's going to be in March, the last week of March, which is like 25th and 26th, 2 days workshop. So yeah, we would love to see you guys there. And I think with that, that's pretty much all I had on the community side. Christian, yes, you have a
I
question?
think you said earlier that we're winging it today, right? I was just chatting with Benjamin, and Benjamin is happy to show some of the binding work that I was just touching briefly in my update. So over to you, Benjamin. Awesome. Demo time,
Well,
probably.
no demo time.
Not demo.
We're just staring at code. That's the idea.
Excellent.
So WebSocket bindings, right? So everybody knows what this is about or not. Let me show. So this is about like all this broker work that we did, right? So like Arne, so we had like broker as a communication library, and Arne kind of made that like a pluggable component, right? So it's not like set in stone anymore that everybody is running broker. And broker, since some time actually, you could talk to Zeek to broker in Zeek with broker and Python bindings, and that existed in broker. And since broker becomes optional, we think of like building that independently of broker, basically. And Zeek can already, when you switch out the backend, they already show you the broker WebSocket API. It's already exposed, and that works. What we still had were the bindings, basically. So there were bindings. So broker is like a binary library that links to symbols from Zeek and then gives you a Python library, for example, or C++ library. And it does three things, basically. So it does, if you look at this example, so this is like the broker, the existing broker bindings that have been here since years. And if you look at this example, so this example here connects to Zeek and publishes an event, I think. It sends 3 ping events. Yes, and waits for Pong replies. And you see like multiple things here, right? So there's like something that like connects to some Zeek node somewhere, then there's something that subscribes to something, some status management. And then in here you see like, so that's like basically the cluster topology stuff that went away in that new world. And then you have like some transport going on here in that publish call. Something is like transporting some payload somewhere. And then somewhere here, there is something that like serializes some custom data types, right? And the idea is to make this independent of this library, that it has like a binary dependency on Zeek. So yeah, so this WebSocket API that broker already exposed, that kind of, the idea was kind of simple, just like your language has some WebSocket bindings and it's a text-only protocol, so everybody can write that. And the stuff so here you would have like a simple connection over that WebSocket API. So that connects to some endpoint. It sends, this is a subscription message. So it subscribes to zeek.test topic. Then the server sends back some ACK, basically. Okay, you are subscribed now. And then it publishes events, serialized in some format. So some like Zeek developers think this is very easy for people to do, and you don't need a library for that. Everybody can write this, right? And we talked to some users, and they were not convinced of that argument. So we want to give them something that is still simple, right? So then independently, I was playing with like benchmarking that new WebSocket front end, basically, that Arne put in front of all the abstracted away backends, right? So, and I implemented that in Rust because I wanted to play with Rust and I wanted to stress test that thing and not be burdened by slow languages, for example, right? So I implemented that in Rust, and this does all the things basically that you need. It can serialize some Rust types, and it can understands that protocol that Zeek speaks, like with that subscription and the ACK, and then you publish events and get errors back, that kind of stuff. And it also allows you to has like some tools to building clients, right? That's all Rust. So not everybody, unfortunately, is using Rust to implement their clients for Zeek. So then I looked into this and checked out how easy it would be to build clients actually in other languages and use this as an implementation and build some kind of like language specific front ends for that, right? On top of this library. And I convinced like other Zeek developers to try this, and we might move this into the Zeek org at some point and maintain it together. So this Rust library has like grown a couple of things now. So it is like Rust, it can do Rust, but it also has like built-in support for Python and C and C++ now. And if you look at the docs, that stuff looks kind of like at the highest level, right? If you just want to interact with that, you implement some abstract base class, Zeek client, and some callbacks that get called, and then you can run that asynchronously, right? That would be the most encapsulated thing. Or you can go a level deeper and like deal with that asynchronicity yourself and write a synchronous client that like either publishes or receives. And it does all this mapping of data for you, right? Let's look at an example. I only shared a single screen, right? Should I? Oops. Let's go up here. So in here, that Python library, for example, right? Oops. Oh, oops, here it is. I mean, that's basically the client I just showed you, right? And it expects, it's like Python is dynamically typed, so that's kind of interesting, but we can constrain some of that with like type hints. So if you, for example, publish an event, you should have a string topic and an event, and then you can check it's an event actually, right? So an event is a more complicated thing, right? It's like a list of, it's a name and a list of values, right? And that's where all this serialization basically for happens for you, where it has all these variants supported, and that is like some automatic type conversion happening here. Where's my example? Let's look at this example, right? So this is like a simple client that would publish an event. All right. And this is how you could write an event in that API. You just say, I want to publish an event named ping. It has like a list of arguments that is a string here and no metadata. And then you can just stuff this into this client and it will publish that thing. Or you could get the values out and convert them, right? And like, this is an event handler here, right? So an event comes in. And if I receive an event, I publish an event, ping pong again, but I can look into these arguments here, right? So I can get the first argument. Oops. So this gives me some value, and then I can, well, how does this actually work? I think something like this actually works. So this gets a string here, and then I could say my message, which is a string, is just this, right? And this will, no, it's not actually correct. Sorry. I mean, this library basically allows you to work with these data types. What did I implement here, Christian, actually? How do I get the value out of this? Does this work? No. What's the API I implemented here?
You're ahead of me, Benjamin. I am not sure.
I mean, I probably lost everybody, but you can watch this on YouTube. Let me quickly
In
look
slow
at
motion.
Am I too fast?
No, it's all
So
good. It's all good. I think we're conveying what's going on here, which is the most important bit. It's awesome. Thank you.
there's a way to get that value out. Yeah, here it is, right? No, that's the wrong value. Look, here's the value, right? What's the issue with the value? So this is any of these types. Yes, I mean, this works. This works. So this gives me some value, and then I can assert that message is some string, right? For example, if I expect a string here, that kind of thing, right? And now I can work with that string. And so that's there. And like I also said, there's also C bindings and C++ bindings, which look much less nice, actually, and that's mostly because C++ and C don't try to be nice, like Python. And it's kind of easy to add all these languages. So as an exercise last weekend, I added like node bindings, which was also not crazy hard. So, I mean, so this doesn't have a client, but I mean, there's a way to encode like a value here, right? And then say, constrain what users can pass into that and then allow them to serialize data, for example, right? And it's kind of easy and kind of fun, actually. So I think this was a good, successful exercise. So this like reusing like Rust, I mean, implementing language bindings in Rust is kind of easy, I think, and it's kind of fun. And if you are curious or want to implement bindings for Java using this, open a PR. I mean, this will eventually end up in a Zeek org, hopefully, and have like bindings, useful bindings. That's it.
Can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
Do the node bindings include a WebSocket client, or would you
No,
just use the one that is included in Node?
So for the Python stuff, there's there's this one thing that used like the built-in WebSockets library from Python, or like the external actually library from Python, and there's another one that has like a WebSocket. This async thing had its own client built in, and this WebSocket, this Node stuff is just about serializing. So this doesn't have a client or anything. It gives you like access to this kind of load thing that allows you to build your own client, right? So this is like basically like so like for everybody, you know this, Arne, but for everybody else, it's like a transport agnostic encapsulation of that protocol, right? So when you create like this binding, you are required to give it like a list of subscriptions, and then when it starts up, it automatically subscribes you and makes sure the state is correct. But I haven't built a client for this yet, so this is left as an exercise to the interested user.
Yeah, and some more recent versions
for the C and C++ stuff, I included that, right? Because that's much more painful to pull in external dependencies in C and C++. So that's in there. I mean, we can look into that. Let's look at, unless you want to cut me off here because I'm running out of time, right? So
I just wanted to say that the modern Node versions actually ship with a full-fledged WebSocket client. So that is perfect, just the serialization.
Yeah. I mean, you still have to think about like subscription as a user, right? So like, I mean, this is how this looks in C++, right? So you create like some client that has like a name, it has some URI, it connects to some list of topics, and then it has some callbacks, right? So you don't need to know anything about that protocol. If you want to do your own serialization, it's okay, but you still have to think a little bit, and maybe that's okay if you want to use Node. I mean, you can. It's not hard, right? It's all documented. Yeah. Yep.
Awesome.
I think that's really
thank
cool.
you. Yeah, totally. Thank you, Benjamin. Good stuff. Not sure what else to add there, but if you are planning to integrate Zeek with third-party applications, you will soon be using this. So there you go. Awesome.
Or you can implement that yourself, right? Because it's not magic, right? It's kind of easy. And like some people write tests and they are like, we don't need a library. I can implement this like 10 times a day. Some people would say that.
That is also
on this call.
We have noticed. Yes, that is true. Anyway, good stuff. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you again, Benjamin. Very cool.
Cool. Is there anything else, Christian, we were thinking to talk about today?
I don't think anybody else has pinged me with a demo, so no. No, thank you. I think that's all I had. Thank you. We had.
We can always pick out people
Mhm.
who like it and yeah, put them in spot. But we are not going to do that. It's December and yeah. Cool. All right. If there's nothing else, then I'll see you guys hopefully next month in our community call. Again, a reminder, we have the topic of the month online live in our channel. So please drop by, share your success stories. We would love to hear that from you guys. And then hopefully we will wrap everything up in a blog post by the end of the month. So with that, I hope you guys have a nice day and happy holidays. Take care, guys. Bye.
Bye.